What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Alex Cuesta Show. How's everybody doing out there on this Wednesday, July 17th, 2024, episode 132? Dave, I'm getting the hang of this. I'm on the right side now, pretty consistent.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Shut up, Dave.
See, I'm expecting the next show to be very different.
I mean, I'm expecting me to fail at all times. But hello, everybody. We're hoping David can not, screw up his internet connection. It's been choppy at best.
I don't know why.
It might be interesting with him freezing, but I'm fine with that. David's he's here to just make fun of me. So it'll just be fun if he's not. Anyway, so we appreciate everyone out there watching on YouTube, on X, on Facebook. Hello, everybody out there. Nate coming in right away. What's up, Nate? He's saying right away, what a slow week since your last show. I know we don't have a single fucking thing to talk about this week. Not at all. But before we jump into any of the fun stuff, we appreciate everyone out there. Again, you're watching on YouTube. Smash that like button, subscribe to the show, spread this word of mouth on X, give us a repost, and, send it out there and let everyone know that you're watching, that we are here. Find us everywhere on the socials at the Alex Cuesta Show. Last week, we had Wilfred Riley on for the second time, first time having him on live. We had an absolute blast just going into every which direction.
Went everywhere.
Wilfred, he's a professor at political science and an author. Lies My Liberal Teacher Told Me is his newest book. Yep. And we kind of, in a roundabout way, covered a bunch of the topics in his book, and it was lots of fun. So go back, give that a listen. Before I give my shout out of the week, I want to bring our guest in for this week. And Dave, it's always fun when we get to branch into this side of the stuff that we like, because we like, you're still more into gaming than I am, but I live vicariously in gaming through watching places like Side Scrollers with Stuttering Craig, Neurotic Friday Night Tights, and Tuesday Night Main Event with Geeks and Gamers. And this individual is frequently on there. He is Benologyy. He is a YouTube streamer, and he is a gaming and cultural commentator, whatever it is. What's going on, Ben?
Oh, not much, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. I was pumped when you said you'd come on. I remember messaging Dave. I'm like, hey, Ben said he'd come on. He's like, oh, hell yeah. So, we're excited that you came on. Now, I love that background because Dave and I are both weebs, and I love your little anime dude you have going on. So
yeah,
what is the inspiration? Did you make that yourself? Who made that for you?
So I actually hired somebody a while back on Fiverr, because when I was first starting my personal YouTube channel, I was actually going to do VTubing. That was my original plan. Yep. So I had my VTuber created, and then I just never did anything with it. I never got it rigged or anything. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna make that my profile picture, for YouTube, and then for everything else. And then this image here, Josiah actually gave this one to me today. I was like, dude, that's sick. I was like, that's awesome. So I loved it the minute I saw it. I was like, this is great.
So what are you calling that attack? Is that's it's not a Rasengan. It's not you got to give it an original name, because you're riding a fucking unicorn with a charged attack on your hand. What do we call it?
Good question. I don't know. We're gonna have to think of something during the show here, because I'm terrible at coming up with
anyone in the chat. If you want to give it a name in the chat as well, jump in there, throw something in. Maybe we can get some fun names in the chat.
Right.
So before we get into any of the fun stuff today, I want to give a shout out. Something I've been doing is, trying to give shout outs to our friends of the show. This week, I'm talking about our past guest, Michelle Tafoya. We reached out to Michelle, and she is fantastic. For those that don't know, if you're not sports fans, Michelle Tafoya spent a long time as a really successful sideline reporter, many Super Bowls. She was a sideline reporter for, and just really good at her job. Left not too long ago to jump into the foray of politics. So she has started the Michelle Tafoya podcast. They drop their episodes Tuesday and Thursday. Find it anywhere you can find a podcast: YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc., Rumble. And she talked on Tuesday about growing enthusiasm for the Trump campaign. And she talked to Kaya Willis, who is a defector from the left, slowly really making her way to the center right. So go back, give that a listen. Go and support the Michelle Tafoya podcast. Subscribe there. And Michelle's awesome. She's based as shit. So she is someone that you should all go. And if you want to go back, I forget what episode it is, but go back and we'll have Michelle on again, because I've talked to her and she said she'll jump back on. So I'm excited for that. So that is my shout out. I want to jump into this week's show though, because, like Nate pointed out, we have nothing to talk about this week. Nothing's happened this week, Ben.
It's been such a quiet week.
It's such a quiet week, and in gaming, in the world, everything going on. But it really, the big news of today is Joe Biden has once again survived death. He woke up today. That's number one.
No surprise there.
And number two, it came out that like Donald Trump and his pussy assassination attempt, Dodgy just dodged the fucking bullet.
Touched.
Joe Biden has beaten or has COVID and is currently beating COVID. So prayers out to our brave president.
Who was it that said something about if he survives this, then he should be just as congratulated?
Joy Reid.
It was Joy. Yeah, not surprised. I forgot who it was. I'm not.
Blake Travis put out the entire thing of Joy Reid saying, I didn't even listen to it because I'm like, I don't want to listen to that pinhead report anyway. But it's like,
I didn't see that, but I did see an image going around where it was like when Biden comes back from having COVID and he's got like a bandage on his ear.
I did see that.
I thought that was pretty good.
I mean, and the thing is, it's been crazy. So obviously, for those that don't know, if you've been under a rock, Donald Trump was, I want to say set up, but we'll say there was an assassination attempt on his life on Saturday at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. And it was, millimeters away from killing him. He got shot through the top of his ear. And
someone was killed.
Corey
Comparatore.
And there was it David Dutch and
another. I don't know names of who was injured. I haven't seen those.
There was two other people injured. Yes. One of them, there's other one stable. Yeah. I heard one was put into an induced coma, but I don't know if they're out of it or not.
Okay.
So
I didn't.
There's mixed information, but I will say the conservative right is fucking awesome as always because they have raised millions of dollars for these people, not just Corey's family, but also others. So, I mean, Nate, you're right there. He beat Corn Pop. He beat Medicare. About to beat COVID.
That's right.
I will always say Corn Pop was saving
a bad dude.
He was saving the kids from pedophile Joe. Okay. Anyway, but so Ben, this is kind of a where were you moment, right? Like this is 9/11. This is Joe Biden rigging the election. This is so
you just don't care right now.
Don't give a fuck right now. But listen, our dollar sign will not be green for like years. So let's just go all in. But
hey, no worries there.
Where were you Saturday when you got the news that? President Trump, it was weird because President Trump has been shot. And it's like, fuck, okay. So where were you?
I was getting ready to go watch the, what's the movie called? I can't remember. Fly Me to the Moon with Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum. I was getting ready to go watch that movie. And I was like, I just left the bathroom and I looked at my phone and I looked at Twitter and Twitter was just like blowing up. I saw Jeremy was having an emergency Cobra cast and I was like, what is happening? It's like, what's going on? And it was like Trump. It was like said something like Trump just shot or something along those lines. And I was like, this is great. Like, is this real? Like, so I immediately went and checked the rest of Twitter and sure enough, it was. So I was a little flabbergasted, to be entirely honest with you, because it's been so long since we've had like nothing really in my lifetime where we've had something that prolific happen in terms of like to a president, right? Exactly.
We had Steve Scalise about 6-7 years ago at the baseball game. We had Justice Kavanaugh with the psycho, but like to a president,
something that would shake
to a president or a presidential candidate or an ex-president, whatever. We haven't had that happen in a long time. So I was like, well, we're witnessing history, regardless of good or bad, we're witnessing history one way or another. And so I was a little shocked, to be entirely honest with you. I've never been a very outspoken Trump guy. I'm not the biggest fan of him, as a person. But I didn't dislike a lot of the things he did as president. So regardless though, like that's frightening. Because you got to think about the ramifications of if that bullet hadn't missed and where would we be and what would the political unrest look like with
everyone would be armed and ready to go. Like it would be really like there would be civil war and it would be no doubt that this would be the straw that broke the camel's back of the peaceful conservatives because I don't know how anybody survived all the riots Sunday and Monday and everything because the massive riots in every
all
city
those
of
that happen. Yeah, totally.
those racist, pitchfork, gun-toting, Bible-thumping conservatives.
Right.
That no, but I think that would have been the catalyst to push it over because you're not even looking at the right. MAGA isn't only the right. There is a ton of individuals that are just quite literally devoted to Donald Trump that we're going to see leave in 4 years if we don't have a strong MAGA candidate, right? Like there are a lot of people that voted for Obama that are still on Trump's side because they believe in his stuff.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't go away, if that, so it was a weird time, right? So Dave, what do you have to say there?
I was going to say, and I think one of the most annoying things comes to mind about this is that it's shocking that it happened. Like you're blown away that this actually occurred. But for me, it's just like, I'm not entirely, I'm surprised it didn't actually happen. Like some attempt didn't happen sooner. That was closer. Yeah. Like, that's the worst part, especially with all the rhetoric that's been surrounding Donald Trump. I wouldn't have been surprised if this wasn't attempted sooner.
100%. 100%. I agree with you then. I've been waiting for it. And now what I think is, all right, so I'm going to lay it all out there. I'm agreeing with the people like Sean Davis and other people online. There is no way that this was just negligence. This seems very much like a government setup, whether it was specifically CIA or it was maybe just somebody helping this individual because they wanted Trump gone. But all of the issues that happened just seemed too perfect, right? Like the most clear fucking spot to take a shot is empty because the roof is a little bit more slanted. The snipers that had shots, apparently they saw him for 10 minutes now. We've heard that today in the closed session meeting. They knew about this guy for 10 minutes. He went from a suspicious individual to a threat. Like it's all too perfect to just be negligence, Ben.
No, I feel like it's just I was watching a video today of people who were in the back. They saw him on top of the building and they were like, "Hey, there's a guy up there. Like he's laying down. He has a firearm. Like, are you looking at him?" And I feel like for it to be negligence, I mean, it seems a little far-fetched at this point without the amount of information we've gotten. But are we ever going to get that proof? Because the CIA is the one or is it the FBI?
It's Homeland
FBI?
Security.
FBI.
Homeland Security IG is investigating Secret Service. So it's a Homeland Security IG. So better than FBI, CIA, or NSA because they're, it's a separate entity. I don't have any confidence. Like, and even with the IG reports, right? We had a damning IG report that was like, hey, I forget what it was. It was something damning about Biden and nobody gave a fuck. Like, it's like this IG report can come out and just be like, the Secret Service actually plotted his death. And everyone's going to be like, shame, shame. And that's it. They're going to move on.
Yep.
So it's crazy. And in that video too, like I'm talking to you earlier, Dave, and it's like, if it's just anybody going, hey, that guy has a gun, get him. Fine. Right. It's MAGA people. And I guarantee 90% of that crowd own weapons, have fired weapons. So for them to sit there and be going like, hey, that guy's got a rifle. Like they know their shit.
Regardless, I mean, even especially with today's political climate, the way that it is, I feel like if someone's shouting, "Hey, there's a guy up there with a gun," it should at least be investigated, right? I mean, regardless.
And I really think like, how hard would it have been to call in and be like, "Hey, potential target, we have someone there. Pull the president off the stage. We will continue this when clear."
Right.
Wouldn't you think that'd be basic?
Yeah. You would think. You would think that'd be common sense.
Like,
but
just pull the president off the stage. Like, whether it's nothing, all Trump has to do is come back and be like, listen, people, they love me. He's just trying to get a better look, but we're good here. Like, he would have just done his thing and he would have just been Trump. But to me, it just seems all too perfect. So I want to jump into the cultural side of this because we have seen so many masks come off and it happens often. But this has been one of the absolute worst. Dave, do you have anything that any of the celebrity stuff? Now your computer's been being shit, so let's see if this works.
Yeah, I don't know. This might be difficult. But
this might be hilarious, you mean?
I do have some Mark Hamill. Just to start, because we all love
Marky Mark.
Yeah. But this is after Trump showed up he's laughing about his oversized ear bandage like he wasn't shot through the ear. Mark had a
Also,
couple.
still probably given by a medical professional. So.
Exactly. But Mark himself showed himself throughout this whole entire thing. He tried to say something nice, but then he also just said, but, oh, whoops. He also said, but, and that said, never forget this is a guy who promised the NRA to do nothing on gun control. Like, that's, you don't need to put that in a tweet saying, I wish someone didn't die.
But the thing is, it's like, it was staged though. So if it was staged, why do we need gun control?
That's fair.
Right.
You know, if this was set up in the government, you know, it was staged and Donald Trump was doing it itself, we don't need gun control because it wasn't real. So they can't pick what they want. So one of the big ones is Tenacious D.
Yep.
And Jack Black. Yeah. Dave, is that what you're pulling up here?
Yep, that's exactly what I have pulled up.
All right. So, Dave, I don't know if you want to play that.
Do you want to play this? I feel like everyone's seen it, and we could really just describe it.
All right, so we don't have to play it, so we could describe it.
All that happens is they bring out a cake for Kyle Gass because it's his birthday, 75,000 years old, and he says to make a wish to Kyle Gass. Kyle Gass says, "Don't miss Trump next time." And some people cheer, some people are like, oh, whatever. And they don't really, there's nothing much. But Jack Black doesn't say anything about it. He just kind of goes with it a little bit. And then after that, they came out and tried to CYA. It was okay for a response. I don't know what to say about them. It's annoying, especially because Jack Black already came out and basically stumped for Biden. But at this point, it's expected. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're good. I was going to say that's one of the reasons this is being looked at the way that it is.
Yeah.
Period. Is because Jack Black has been so outspoken about his support for Biden, and I'm sure that the other guy has too at some point. But
100%.
I mean, that's the reason it's under the lens that it is because of those things, right? There's obviously going to be political bias there. And so it's when he says something along those lines, it clearly does feel like violence is being incited, even if it's a joke.
Yeah.
But usually you don't talk about, killing somebody as a joke, or I don't think it's that much of a joke, regardless. I don't think it's very funny. So I don't know. It's a weird situation, but I think their responses to it are weird too, because a lot of the apologies, they just feel like the same old apologies we get from every other person that apologizes for something on the internet.
Exactly.
It doesn't feel sincere.
At least they didn't have a camera set up and sigh with tears in their eyes before they apologize. But I think one of most
real quick, Josiah, what's up? Josiah saying FBI being in charge of the investigation makes me question everything and not trust anything except for what the good citizens capture at the rally. Josiah, 100% agree. Real quick, going back to that. But go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Yeah, and one thing I want to say is, like, look, I'm pretty much, I don't necessarily care about like dark, disgusting jokes very much. Like, obviously, some of them are really shitty jokes. If you're going to say they're jokes, like maybe you should just shut up. You're not very good at this. But I think one of my biggest issues, a lot of these people that make these jokes, quote unquote, would screech at you if you make even a slightly offensive joke about anything. So these people don't deserve, I don't know, I don't want to give them the benefit of the doubt on a lot of things because they wouldn't do that for me or for anyone else that's a somewhat off a position to theirs.
And I would lean into it more if they would just be like, hey, you know what? Jack Black would be like, I was taken aback. It was a bad joke, but at the same time, Trump's evil. Fine. At least show your true colors and be honest, right? With what you're doing, what you're feeling, how everything is going. Because the whole entire, I was blindsided this and that. And like the fact that they basically broke up Tenacious D over it is fucking insane.
Well, we're not certain, but.
Nope. We lost Ben for a second.
No, we lost Ben. Well, hopefully Ben comes back soon. We'll get him back very soon. But to continue on with that, I mean, it might have broken up Tenacious D. We'll see. But I don't know. We had a whole bunch of people come out. There was a senator, I believe, in Colorado that said something stupid as well.
Yep.
And I believe he completely deleted his Twitter. But and we had also a couple other people, some people who have been known in Twitter in the gaming space, like Alyssa Mercante. And she put like a stormtrooper up and everything. But it's like I said, it's not tasteful. It's grody. But if they weren't people that would go after you for damn near anything, then I don't care as much about those types of things.
I agree with you. I want to jump in with a few more comments here from a young G's perspective. Juliana, what's up? Gross negligence or implicit coercion via the Secret Service. I agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. Josiah comes back in here. Don't think the jokes were tasteful, but I absolutely do not condone them getting canceled. For the jokes, just let people shame them and move on. Now, for one thing with Tenacious D, the people didn't cancel them. Jack Black closed out himself. And I believe it was,
I think Kyle Gass's agency,
Kyle
talent
Gass's
agency,
agency,
like dropped him.
And here's the thing. Like you said, I'm kind of piggybacking and agreeing with you. I'm cool with free speech as long as you're willing to protect free speech, right? As long as you're a person that goes to hell for free speech, you can have shitty opinions. But if you go to the hell for free speech, I'm cool with that, right? What my issue is, hey Ben, you're back.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, you're all good. It freaked me out for a second. But...
no, my computer's freaking me out right now. It just randomly shut off, and it took me like 3 attempts to get it back on. So
we're talking shit about the government. So they're
exactly. They're like, watch this, bastards.
We'll see if it stays on. Hopefully,
let us get monetized before the government comes after us. Come on. Anyway,
exactly.
but overall, like I'm willing to sit there, and if I don't care if you're a commie, if you're a free speech commie, and you're on the side of, hey, I don't give a shit what anybody says, don't fuck with their free speech. I'm cool. Jack Black and Kyle Gass wouldn't be those guys. So for me, it's like you guys would sit there and want me canceled for half the shit I say. So I'm not going to defend you. Do I want you to be canceled? No, but I'm not going to defend you.
I wouldn't push for the cancelization, but when it's happening, like I don't want it to happen, but it's also how much of a finger do I want to necessarily lift for you? I honestly,
I do say I like whatchamacall. Ben's FBI guy is on duty. Yes, Nate. Ben.
Yeah, probably true. Probably true.
But so here's my thing, and here's my issue. I like Jack Black. I like Tenacious D. Wonder Boy and that fucking whole Tenacious D album with Tribute and Inward Singing is fucking hilarious. Free speech commie, is that a thing?
I don't
know as an example, Nate. Damn it. But the thing is, it's like I like that. So it's like I don't accept his apology either because I think he's full of shit. I think I was bad. Maybe he was blindsided by it, and maybe he legitimately is pissed. Apparently, I didn't confirm it, but apparently he stopped following Kyle Gass on things.
Really.
So, it could be that, maybe they discussed something earlier about, hey, let's not fucking take it there. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe Kyle broke that and that really pissed him off.
Because there's so many other things to say than that.
And it's hard for me to believe that too, because even in the video, like there was someone who took the video from a different angle, and you can see Jack like kind of laughing. And I don't know if he was like nervous laughing when that happened, right? It could have been just nervous laughter, like, oh, Kyle, why did you say that? Like that kind of thing. But still, it's the whole situation was it's just weird, dude.
But it's also like, at least if you like all these jokes, none of them are funny. That's the problem too.
There's like no real wit.
If you're gonna make a joke about this, at least make it funny, right? Like if you made a funny joke, it was a dark joke, it was the day after him dying, like him getting shot. I don't care if Donald Trump got fucking murdered and you made a funny joke. It would be sad because he's murdered, but at least it's funny. Dark humor is fine. But when it's shitty dark humor, no one's gonna laugh at it. And it was the same thing that everyone was saying. Oh, don't miss next time. It's like, it's not funny. Like
there's a reason why we throw tomatoes at people.
Yes, there is a reason why we throw tomatoes at people. So, Dave, anyone else that comes to mind for you, or Ben, any other celebrities that you saw that maybe surprised you with some of the shit that they said?
There was a cuck that said some stuff, but I don't really want to give him too
much attention. There were people. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to give him attention either, but there were people that didn't surprise me with the things they said.
Like who? Throw it out there.
I mean, Destiny was one of them, but I was not surprised by anything he said. But
so
then again,
to not pull a Malcolm Flex and
don't do that.
Pulled completely. He's a TOGAF. Okay, I'm not pulling.
That was hilarious.
That was absolutely fucking hilarious.
That was out of pocket, dude. It
completely deserved.
But Destiny. We talked about this earlier, Dave. Destiny has always sucked. And I put out there in a tweet.
I don't want to talk about him very much.
He's a headline hero that can parrot big words. That's about it. And he's useless. He's a cuck. And cucks are half men, and we don't give a fuck about him.
We had Hassan said Trump was clip farming.
That's Hassan says a bunch of stupid stuff all the time.
Ridiculous shit all the time. but
Hassan also gets mad when he doesn't have like a bunch of comments and money coming in. And, like,
Hassan is literally a trust fund child. I mean,
Yes.
the dude doesn't actually need money from viewers.
He's a lolcow in the making, I'll tell you that. When we see viewers go away, we'll see a lolcow right there.
When your uncle is Cenk Uygur and Cenk Uygur's the based one out of YouTube, there's a fucking problem, okay? Cenk is the based one out of those two, and that's awful, okay? Like,
that's saying something.
It is saying a lot. So obviously the Trump assassination attempt is bad. I think they're going to have a few more because the government missed and the government don't miss. So he needs to be on his fucking shit because they're going to come after him a few more times. I think they're going to try and kill both of them, to be quite honest, because here's my thing. My theory on Biden, they can't actually kick him out, but if he dies peacefully and naturally, oh boy, what are we going to do?
There are rumors. There were rumors today that he said that like if he gets diagnosed with like a medical problem or whatever, then he'll drop out.
He gets COVID. He's going to Delaware. Apparently, he asked if Kamala has a chance to win recently, like just 20 minutes ago or something.
So yeah, Kino Casino was playing.
It might be. I honestly were hosed if she did. So
yes, no, it's a bad time if Kamala actually gets in power.
Honestly, I don't care about anything she actually does. I just don't want to hear her speak because I do not want a presidential thing going. So now we're going to go to and we're going to give you credit. She just fucking laughs at everything. It's like, let someone else do her press conferences for her.
She's the Joker.
Yeah,
stop laughing. Yeah,
she is the DEI Joker.
Mercy.
Oh my God. So I want to jump into something that is arguably worse than Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
That's a segue.
Disney Star Wars The Acolyte.
Yeah. Oh, what a...
I honestly think I would take Joe Biden or Kamala as president. Then I have to admit, I did not fucking watch this.
Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't watch it either. I did.
Okay. All right.
Well, hold up. I wanted to look up anything to just share. And I looked up The Acolyte on Google. And these people also ask, was it canceled? What was the point? Is it about Palpatine? And who is the Sith Lord? That's what we have on Google.
Those are all great questions.
Yes.
So,
such good questions.
That's all we need.
Ben, you being someone that has tortured yourself, what is your feelings on The Acolyte? Now, don't get me wrong. I paid attention to a lot of commentary, and I've seen, I know enough about lesbian space witches. Just having twins out of the Force, which is basically like the female cooter power. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but so synopsis this for me and for the viewers about the glory that is Star Wars. Disney Acolyte.
The Acolyte. Let's see if I can even explain the dumpster fire of a story that they were trying to tell.
Can you actually get
fire in space? The fire in space.
Yeah, well, and this we can put it out. Or wait, it exists in the first place. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm having an aneurysm every time I talk about the show, but okay. So it's about these two girls that you find out are twins pretty early. One of them is evil and is trying to kill 4 Jedi Masters that were stationed on her home planet when a tragedy happened, and the other one is good, I guess, and so the Jedi mistake the good one for being her evil sister, and then they mistake her for being her evil sister. And what happens after that?
So hold on. So we'll recap here for anyone that's an actual fucking Star Wars fan. The Jedi, if you're a master, mostly can use the Force to sense intentions and sense good and evil, mistaken a supposed good, pure individual for an evil one. Throwing that out there.
Yeah. Well, the Jedi don't do a lot of very good Jedi things in the show. They're not very good Jedi. Let's just put it that way. Both in morals and in practice, they just aren't good Jedi. So yeah, I mean, it falls around these two sisters, and then you find out that they were created by these space witches with the Force, or the thread. Sorry, the thread, and they are what is called a Vergence. And so the reason that there were these Jedi stationed on the planet is because they were looking into this Vergence for the Jedi Council. And so they go they go in and they investigate. But Soul, one of the Jedi Masters, is like weirdly infatuated with one of the little girls and is like, we need to protect her and take her away from here because she's in danger. And so the Jedi hatch this whole scheme to get them away. They like test the girls to see if they're capable of being Jedi, and they hatch this whole scheme to get them out of there. And then they try to go save them. And one of the moms dies, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff, and then the whole temple gets taken down. It's just it's a disaster. That's my synopsis.
The Jedi become the Pedi.
One of the issues
that's the goal. It seems like
one of the issues that they had is they used flammable stone to build their structure.
Yeah, I mean they built an incredible structure with amazing stone, but what they forgot to mention was the fact that there was gasoline soaked like wood behind the wall.
Jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams.
Stone beams.
A fire can burn stone. Regular fire can
if
fucking burn stone.
You want to pull up my favorite screen cap from this show that I've seen.
Yeah, the metal detector. Like it is so clearly like they didn't. The best part about this is they didn't even put any effort into trying to make something unique. They were just like, you know what? Screw it. Let's buy a metal detector. We'll give it to the Wookiee.
I forget who I heard say this. I forget who I heard say this, but they really needed a lot more mansplaining on this fucking set.
Yeah, they needed something on the set, and I thought it was money, but no. $180 million was the budget. So,
Alex, do you know what he was detecting with that metal detector?
He was detecting avergence in the Force.
Yeah, he was detecting the Force. That's what he was looking for.
They were trying to make like a dragon radar with the metal detector for the Force.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I mean, I think my biggest issue with the show, like, don't get me wrong, there's an abundant amount of issues.
Well, it exists. That's the first problem.
Yeah, right. And the fact that it even got made is outstanding to me, but not in a good way. There's so many like lore breaking moments and just dumb weird stuff in there. But one of my biggest issues with the show is the characters' motivations are so unclear the entire time. And so it's like in writing, I would call it whiplash. You are just being thrust back and forth, having no idea who to root for, who to not root for, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. And I understand that with the show, they were trying to go for this idea of not everybody is wholly good and not everybody that you think is evil is wholly evil. And I think those themes can be tackled and be interesting. And I think they can be tackled well. I think the execution of this show is awful. They whatever they were trying to do to get that point across, they did it completely wrong. It's like they read a guidebook on what not to do, and that's what they did. Or they just had AI write the script, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case either.
And the thing is, it's like the EU has laid out a lot of this stuff. If you let, and I used to call it Legends. Legends doesn't fucking exist.
So, you mean Legends, right?
No, they can kick rocks. It is the EU. And the EU authors, don't get me wrong, there are some absolutely fucking god-awful EU books. There are terrible ones. But there are some fantastic ones that did tackle the different versions of the Force that are out there and different Force users. And, Dave was trying to piss me off about this, and he was talking about how they used the thread and they gave life and things like that. And I said, that's not out of the realm of possibility that their master of the Force is to be able to bring life. They're not violent. They're not like the Jedi. They're not like the Sisterhood, the Dark Sisterhood or anything like that. Their mastery of the Force is a different mastery. So that is not anything wrong. And to call it a threat is fine, because we've seen that also in the EU. Different versions of the Force exist. And Luke, who is a fucking badass in the EU, explored all this stuff, right?
Yep.
And that was the fun part about, like, the Ujan Vong War and all those stuff and all that good stuff that was there. But it was like like you said, they poorly execute everything. And I'm okay with some mystery, right? But Star Wars has never been that complicated. Even when we have conflicted characters and things like that, you always have an idea of where it's going. Right. And it's fairly predictable, but just done really fucking well, so nobody cares. That's usually what people love about Star Wars. It's fairly predictable. It's good versus evil. And even when there is some gray area, it's still well done. And Disney Star Wars has not been able to do a single fucking thing of that.
No, and I think that's the other thing too, is like besides the character mercy, besides the character motivations, the two most interesting characters, and I mean interesting in concept alone, because execution once again was horrible. They had a real opportunity to make both Chimere, the evil dark Jedi Sith guy, whatever you want to call him, Smilo Ren. They had an opportunity to make him and Jedi Master Soul very interesting characters, but instead they Chimere was like really kind of weird and creepy in like a sexual way later on in the show, and he's like really obsessed with finding himself an acolyte, but it's like specifically one of these two girls, and so that's all really weird. And then with
the Asian guy,
yes. Yeah.
Well, Master Soul is the Korean guy.
Well,
the Korean guy, the one that takes
they are both Asian, but
which one takes his shirt off that people were going crazy about?
That's Smilo Ren.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and I want to just bring this up real quick aside. And I think this was pointed out by Melissa Mercanti in some of theirs. It's like, when women have fan service, people get angry. And it's like, no, nobody gives a fuck about women fan service, especially if you're an anime fan. You know, you have things like Fairy Tail and stuff like that, where there's like constant like that. That happens.
Yep.
But it's just the way like you present it, and then they lean on it, and then that's all they give a shit about. Fan service is meant to be there and be gone, right? It's meant to be there, be noticeable, be obvious. It's gone. Back to the plot.
Right.
It didn't seem like that existed there.
No, and I don't even necessarily think that
the SJW voice.
I don't even think I'm not 100% opposed to romance being in a story or things like that. I'm not even opposed to it with an enemies to lover romance story. I think sometimes those can be done very well, but everything in this show is so ham-fisted and has zero development and zero time for you to even be invested in the characters, let alone invested in a romance between the two of them, that it just doesn't make sense. Like you in one episode, you have Osha, the good one of the sisters, being captured by the evil guy. And then the next episode, she contemplates going to the dark side, confronts him while he's naked, definitely looks at his wiener.
Yeah, 100%.
And there's like this already weird sexual tension, even though
he's also Asian, so there wasn't much to look at. We know that.
she's never
not a large American penis.
She's never met this guy. She's never met this guy in her life until now. But they share this intimate moment that I know it's not supposed to be the intimacy that like that, but it is like an intimate moment because like he's naked and vulnerable.
Yeah. And
I'm like, this is so bad. This is not how you do it, folks. Like it's an 8-episode series where the episodes are 35 minutes apiece, and they still failed at telling a comprehensive and cohesive story. Like it's just, I don't understand how you do that. I really don't understand how that's possible. But
Ben, I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Why is it that it seems from everything I've seen that Amanda Stenberg put more expression into her diss track with her faces than she did with two characters in The Acolyte? How? How is that possible?
I think she probably
the whole diss track.
I think she cared more about the diss track than she did about the show, to be entirely honest with you. I mean, her performance was so wooden the entire time. And I mean, I don't think she's an amazing actress, but I've seen her in a couple of things and she wasn't as bad as she is in this show. But like her emotional performance, especially in like the last episode, the last couple episodes, I didn't feel anything. And I don't know if it's just the performance or it's the writing or both.
I think it has to be the direction, because we also saw in Ahsoka.
That too.
We saw Rosario Dawson, who is a legitimately good actress.
Great actress.
And has been like, very good in other things and looked perfect as Ahsoka too, which I think it makes me more mad that she looks good as Ahsoka, and she is the fan service Ahsoka that all the guys want to fuck. She's like the alien the guys want to bang. It's that weird thing because it's fucking Rosario Dawson, right? So and like, so the woman underneath there, she's like, what is it? She's Zoe Saldana. She's fucking the same thing. Like, right? Like, that's that.
Right.
But it's like, they didn't allow them, like Sabine in that thing. Like, I don't know why they are having them play, like, apparently it's going into the Force makes you stoic. But it's like, that's not true, because part of the Force is battling with your emotions. That is part of being one with the Force, and Jedi conflict with that as much as anybody else. And it's okay to have that stoicism, but you always see the break in the armor, and they show joy. That is
Yep.
part of, Jedi are allowed to experience joy. They don't have
Yep.
to be stoic at all times. They're just trying to suppress anger and sadness and hate. So it's like I think they were trying to get that, but the direction was just bad. They weren't
Yeah, well,
allowing it to be full.
100%. I mean, even at the end of the show, I assume you guys are totally fine with spoilers. You probably
fuck
know
yeah.
everything.
No, I was expecting to
Or-
watch it, honestly.
No, yeah, right. Good luck. No, but even at the end of the show, like the whole resolution is Osha, the good twin, finds out that Master Soul killed her mom, and she thinks it's this heinous crime, even though, in my opinion, Soul did nothing wrong. He
didn't.
He made the right decision, and so she is right before this, she's talking about like this undying hatred she has for her sister, and that's why she couldn't become a Jedi, because she all her emotions were too strong, and then she goes out and proceeds to force choke Soul to death right after that, and this is, meanwhile, in the same episode, she already told Kymir that she wasn't going to train with him and she wasn't going to be his acolyte. And then at the end of the show, she literally is going to go say goodbye to her sister, and she's like, hey, we should, I don't remember if it's her or if it's him that suggests wiping her sister's mind. Why wouldn't they just all go together and train with each other? Why leave your sister to be found by the Jedi that you hate so much? And potentially, who knows what's going to happen, right? Who knows what's going to happen to her at that point? There's just so many choices in there that just don't make any sense. And it is mind-boggling to me. Like,
you can't tell me also making Osha the good sister wasn't placement for the government. Because everyone knows the OSHA government, the OSHA part of the government is fucking terrible.
When I heard that name for the first time, I was like, "Are you serious?
Yeah,
like, really?"
I was
OSHA.
In construction. Everyone hates OSHA. Like
everybody
hates
OSHA.
People that work for OSHA don't like it. Okay, it's like, so you can't tell me it wasn't Disney trying to like suck on the government teeth there with the OSHA.
Maybe, I don't know, man. It was just, it's bad. And then at the end of the day, the Jedi end up they cover up the original cover up that where Master Soul and all the Jedi caused the death of all these space witches, even though they didn't. So it's like, it's just weird, man. It's weird. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
I kind of wish.
Go ahead, Dave.
I kind of wish they went with like a fusion dance for Osha and May, because that would at least be entertaining. Like if they actually
fused together.
Yeah. Like if they actually busted out the fusion dance, like fully did it in full widescreen and showed that happen, that would at least be entertaining.
At the end of the day, I would have respected the heck out of how weird that is, more than I respected the entire show. Exactly. So, like, hey, I mean, you just got it, but Disney doesn't have balls. We know that. Like, they're not gonna.
It's so frustrating though what they do with the Jedi, right? Because it's like, where George Lucas's original vision was that the Jedi were trying to do good, even though they did eventually become corrupt, and they were very short-sighted as a council. It wasn't necessarily corruption; it was short-sightedness and not wanting to admit to things. Yeah. Where right now Disney is obviously making the Jedi the bad guys. Apparently, like they're the bad guys right now, and fully admitting that they are knowingly being corrupt right now, which was not anything that the Jedi would have done, even the older Jedi. Like, it's just not within their code and how they live, because there would have been masters and there would have been high-ranking people that would have absolutely pushed against it. So
100%.
And they would have overthrown it. We've seen the Jedi in other books where they have had inner conflict of things in terms of that. So it's like the fact that they are just openly saying that they're the bad guys is fucking nonsense. And it's
right. Well, and I mean, like, yes, nobody is perfect, and I think that should be portrayed accurately. But I think a great example of the Jedi not being portrayed as the greatest, but also having their moments of heroism and being the good guys is the Clone Wars television series. I think that show does a great job. Like, there's the entire incredibly tragic arc where Ahsoka gets framed for murder, right? And then she ends up leaving the council, and she leaves the Jedi because of what happened. And she's completely justified in doing so.
And that's huge they lean into the fact of Anakin going further into the dark side because of that, because he was already at odds with the council. That was his Padawan. He was vouching for her and he knew her heart. And he fought to get her free. And then when he was able to, she left, and he agreed with her, and it made him more conflicted. And that was kind
Yeah.
of like the true, like, really, they painted that as the big turn of the dark side really starting to come in, was the
Right.
confliction over losing his Padawan, who he eventually loved as a little sister.
Right. Like we have so many good examples of confliction in the characters in Star Wars, like conflicted feelings throughout Star Wars the way we had it before. So Clone Wars, whatever. And like we have good examples of how to do it well without, like yeah, the Jedi aren't shining beacons of pure, like being completely pure. They have their problems, but ultimately George Lucas did a really good job, and I think even Dave Filoni with the Clone Wars did a really good job of ultimately the Jedi are the good guys. They are the good guys, even though there's some of them may be misguided and some of them might make the wrong decisions. But the Sith, I mean, the Sith are ultimately, they're very selfish. They're very, like they don't care about people or others, period.
They just want power. They're conniving.
100%. But like the
They're
way they
Democrats.
portrayed at the end of the show, and I know they were trying to go for something more nuanced, but it didn't come off that way. The way they portrayed it at the end of the show is the Sith, because they're defying, the will of the Jedi and the will of the Council. They're the good guys because they're just they can do whatever they want. They can, they can be whoever they want to be, and they can do whatever they want to do. And they're not held back by any laws or rules or anything like that. And they showed it almost
ideology, complete leftist ideology,
right,
being portrayed.
They're just saying, hey, this is the right way to be. And so I know that they probably wanted it to be more nuanced than that, but when your writing is as poor as it is and your characters are as poorly done as they are, that's the idea we're going to come away with. And I've seen people that kind of enjoyed the show who are like, I don't understand what they're trying to tell us here. Like they were confused.
Yeah.
They're confused about what they're trying to say. Like, are you trying to say Soul gets murdered in cold blood by Osha. She chokes him to death. And then there's this whole like supposedly heartwarming scene between her and her sister as she's about to go off and train with Chimere. Like, what am I supposed to take away from that other than the Jedi are evil and they murdered people and they committed genocide, even though they didn't. And Chimere is actually the one in the right because he left the Jedi because of their misguided ways. And
so what I think that they're going for, and they've done this a few times, where they're taking stories that have already been established and making them terrible, right? Like Kylo Ren was Jason Solo, and with what's going on with all that stuff and turning him into a Sith, but Jason Solo was done significantly better, right? Because you also had Ben Skywalker in that whole entire thing, and his sister Jaina and all that. So that was a much better story, but that's what they were trying to go for in this most recent trilogy that we saw, and they did it poorly. This one, I see a lot of similarities to what Count Dooku did. And in the end, we see that Count Dooku was proven correct with everything he was doing. He was going about it in the wrong way, but everything he revealed about how the Jedi are misguided, that they were doing the wrong thing, they're on the wrong side, we saw that come true, right? Because Sidious turns on him, and Order 66 occurs, and the Jedi end up being eliminated by the ones that they brought in to help them. So it's like Dooku was in the end right all along, he just the wrong way. And that's why Qui-Gon Jinn was so conflicted, and had temptations because that was his master, and he knew in his heart he was correct. But it was like, I think that's what they were kind of going for, that similar feel of Dooku is evil, the good guys are fighting him, but are they really the good guys? Is Dooku what he's saying true? And they just don't know how to execute it.
That's what they were trying to do. I get it. Like I get what they're trying to do, but it's like, well, you're just doing it completely awful, like completely wrong. I mean, I don't know, man. It was just such a bad show, and it was like, and if it gets renewed for season 2, which it might, because
it's exciting for a lot of people, actually.
It's great for you guys on fucking G&G, and like that's awesome for Tuesday Night Main Event. Like the thing is, Tuesday Night Main Event and Friday Night Tights will go on forever with all the dumb fucking shit going on in TV and gaming.
That's true.
Like they keep on making, like, if things just went well and everyone got what they wanted, right, less of a reason for those to exist, right? Because if like they went back and started, like, they don't need to be based, they just need to not be fucking ideologically captured, and it will be fine. But until they, but you know what? For your guys' sake, I hope they continue to suck. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah, and I mean, I'll plug something here real quick. So
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
actually doing a rewrite of the Acolyte.
Fuck
And
yeah.
I'm submitting it on Wattpad. So I wrote the first chapter. I'm in the process of writing the second chapter right now.
So what is Wattpad for those that don't know?
Wattpad is a platform where you can share. A lot of time it's fan fiction, but a lot of the time you can also share like your own personal work. It is copyright protected, I believe.
Nice. Yeah.
So if you have like a book that you want to release chapter by chapter for people for free, it's a good place to do that.
I write
so
come out because we'll promote it. You let us know. We'll let everyone know as it comes out.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I released the first chapter today, or yesterday. Yesterday, I'm in the process of writing the second chapter right now. But it's something I'm just going to upload it as I finish writing each chapter.
Yeah.
But I want to tell a similar story to what they're telling, not identical. There's actually quite a few changes made, but the same characters, but try to tell it in a more compelling way where you actually like the characters. And maybe feel something a little bit. So that's the goal. That's the goal I have with it. Because I was like, you know what? I can get angry all I want about the show, and it's never going to make it better. Yeah. I can get angry all I want about Star Wars. So why don't I put that anger into creativity and try to make a better version of Star Wars for people to read? So
what's the link to that? Because I want to get it up here.
Yeah, give me a second here, and I will
throw it up there so we could throw it up there so people can go see.
I really hope you actually still include in the mother turning into a dark cloud, getting stabbed, and then saying, "I was going to let Osha go.
I was going to let her go." Where can
they fucking had they had the cloud from Lost to make an appearance.
Yeah. Right, exactly. No,
you want to get that up?
The entire like that. I've decided. Oh, I mean, there's a little bit of a spoiler alert. They're not. There's no virgins in the Force. I've completely eradicated that idea. I'm writing the story in the way that I wish the Acolyte had been written. Because I think the storyline of somebody who is good ultimately turning to the dark side and becoming the Padawan or becoming the learner to somebody. Like somebody evil, I think that's a really good idea. But you need to your character. Yeah, exactly. Your characters need to be compelling in order to make that turn make sense and also be impactful. So my goal is to build these characters in a way that people at least are attached to them, so that when that turn happens, inevitably, if it does, then instead of being detached because we didn't care about the characters, hopefully we'll be so attached to them that like, man, that sucks. Like that's awful, right? That turn's happening. So all the same characters are there. You're gonna have Jedi Master Soul. You're gonna have Yord, the stupid big hair guy, even though I described him differently. Right. So like that, the space witches will exist, but it's gonna be a completely different role. So that's my goal with it.
That's
but
awesome.
I was like, hey, I need to do something about the story, because instead of just being upset about it. So
it's a good way to vent the love for Star Wars that you have with the downfall. And honestly, it was already dead. They're just kicking it right now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, hey, like people understand it's a retelling or whatever, because I am using the characters' names. I'm keeping all that stuff there, but it's hopefully it'll be a little better. So
Dave, you got that pulled up there?
I put it in the chat.
I want you to just pull it up and share.
Oh, might be.
Yeah, but
you're the producer here.
Hey,
I know obviously we don't have a ton of time, so I can't go into super depth, but I've been writing since I was 6 years old. So
that's fucking awesome, dude.
So I write science fiction fantasy.
The real version. I love that.
I like that.
So what you should do is you should go on there and like ASMR read that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I don't know about all that.
You should do Benologyy ASMR and just ASMR read the Acolyte to people.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Your
YouTube
version
series.
of it.
New YouTube series.
There you go. And you can, and listen, I've heard your ooh. I don't want to hear it here, but okay, I know you can do it well.
fair enough. But yeah, so I'm passionate about writing, period, and telling stories well. So when I see stories told so poorly, it hurts my heart, especially as a Star Wars fan. You know, like it hurts to see characters who have potential be just shredded. Like character assassination, great word for the Acolyte. Like they have an idea, but then they're like, hey, let's assassinate them in the first episode of the show. Like within 10 minutes. Nah, character's trash.
I threw it up there real quick again. I'm gonna throw it up. It's blocking us. That's okay. www.wattpad.com. All those numbers there. The Acolyte, Real Virgin, Chapter 1. I'll make sure I put it in the episode description too, just so anyone that wants to get there can get there. Also, make sure I'll put Benology's YouTube and stuff up there so you can go subscribe because obviously he's awesome and he needs more subscribers too. So
hey, I'm hated by half the internet, so I don't know. The thing is though, I like a lot of the time people they want me to be a villain. I think at the end of the day, because I have a lot of takes that are opposite of people. I've got opposite takes for some things. Like I think the Matrix is mid. We won't get into that argument, but I mean, there's things like that. So
you don't like the futuristic Jesus story?
No, not really.
From the Wachowski sisters now? Sisters?
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not anti the Matrix. I just don't like it, But I mean, but once again, I think everybody's completely like entitled to their opinion, whether I think it's wrong or not.
I've taken the opposite thing of that. People have wrong opinions all the time.
No, they
Everyone
do.
is not fucking entitled to their opinion. You can have it. You can still be wrong. So
yeah, 100%. Like when Mike says Mad Max Fury Road is a masterpiece, he's wrong.
I mean, yeah,
but yeah,
Max Fury Road is okay. Sorry, Mike. And then Tom Hardy should have never been in anything that has to do with it. And I love Tom Hardy, but I digress. If Mel Gibson's not in it, it's not fucking Mad Max. I digress. Anyway, so Mike hates me now, but we were gonna ask, should Star Wars be saved? And I think the question is no.
Yeah, we already.
It's done. And here's the thing: it's the only people I would trust is very few people that wrote some EU books, right, to understand it.
Yeah,
I would want them to jump in and maybe do parts of it. But Dave Filoni, I think he gets more credit than he deserves.
For sure.
The thing is, like, he dropped the ball in some Rebels episodes, and Rebels ultimately I thought was very good. Kanan Jarrus is my favorite Jedi of all time. Afterwards, I love Kanan Jarrus.
That guy, dude.
He's he beat Qui-Gon Jinn after I finished that. Qui-Gon was always my favorite.
Dude.
Yeah, so it's like the whole entire arc and everything with that was beautiful. But like, I don't think Dave Filoni can save Star Wars. I don't think he wants to either. I don't think he gives a shit all that much.
No.
Jon Favreau had a chance and decided to not care.
Yeah, well, he made the book of Boba Fett, so
even Bryce Dallas Howard had a few good episodes in The Mandalorian, which I was fucking surprised that she was fantastic. A few episodes that she did, but I mean, Henry Cavill could save it.
Yeah, I know about that one.
I think ultimately, I only think that Star Wars can get back to any semblance of what it used to be is if it's not with Disney, or Disney goes through a complete creative rehaul. Like if that doesn't happen, or if we get to the point where Disney just isn't supported, period, because so many people are just done. Yeah. Like I even noticed with this show, people who were Disney Star Wars supporters are struggling. They're struggling to support it anymore because this show was so bad. Like it was so bad that it polarized a lot of people who weren't like opposed to Star Wars anymore. And so, like I think it's got to be one of those three things.
Doing it and slapping the fans in the face by not doing anything of what it looks like is not okay. Like Andor was fine because Andor was something different. It really wasn't Star Wars, but it was still within the realm of it, and that's okay. Yeah. Everything else has been fucking hot garbage.
Like and it's good to do something different than what George Lucas did. I think that's the only way you keep it fresh. The difference is when you do something different, you still have to respect what came before, because that's so important. When you're dealing with a well-established franchise like Star Wars, if you don't show the respect that the franchise deserves, then fans aren't going to respect you or anything that you're putting out.
Yep.
And I just feel like Disney hasn't really respected Lucas in what they've done, and it's sad. Like it's not hard to write a Star Wars story that feels like Star Wars, but also do your own thing. It's really not that hard. Star Wars is such an expansive and well-established universe. Like
with no aliens at all in this one.
Yeah, like it's
not a single fucking alien in the Acolyte.
It is a cakewalk.
One fucking Wookiee.
Yeah, it's a cakewalk to tell your own story within the Star Wars universe because there's so much established lore and an established universe there. So it should just be a you know, like a walk in the park.
So my final word on the whole thing, they can redeem themselves. I don't care if they give us shit Rey movies. The ending, big bad, needs to be Darth Jar Jar.
Oh,
If
100%.
they give us Darth Jar Jar, everything's forgiven. I
Yep.
don't care. Everything is forgiven. If they make Jar Jar the one that's pulled all the strings, and they could bring Palpatine back and have him bow to Jar Jar, and then have Jar Jar just force choke everyone and end it with the Sith winning. Star Wars over.
Oh.
We're good. Jar Jar.
But that would be leaning into fun, and they don't do that. They don't lean into fun.
Make it Jiraiya, and make it trans. I don't give a fuck. Just make it Jar Jar.
make it Jar Jar and make it actually that he created Plagueis, and then Plagueis learned from the witches how to create life.
Jar Jar's a time traveling Sith. He went all the way back and fucking made Bane, and then he came back and has done it all. That's it.
Jar Jar is a legend, man.
So that's what you need to write. Scrap the real Acolyte. Just make Jar Jar a time traveling Sith. That is fucking every time they fuck up the line, he has to go back and do something new.
The Darth Jar Jar theory is my absolute favorite Star Wars theory.
It's true. He's the most evil character in the history of Star Wars.
I love it so much. It's so good. And it's so well thought out too. Like it just makes sense. You can't tell me it's wrong.
They have an activist doing Rey Palpatine. I mean, Skywalker movies. They're all activists, Nate. Pick one. Just pick a name in the fucking credits, and they went to a BLM rally. Okay.
They don't really care about Star Wars as a whole.
So last thing I want to jump into, and we could go, we can go a while with this, but we probably won't go crazy.
I said screw Concord. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh no, I want more. I want to talk about more quality.
I stopped caring about that. I was looking at the tab, and I was like, no one cares about this game.
You guys want to talk about something good? I mean, we can do that too.
I just quickly want to say, Concord's going to fucking blow. It is an Overwatch clone with DEI, but SJWs keep creating your own shit. That's fine. Go make a bunch of Concords. Just leave our shit alone. If they can go make their own shit that's terrible and let their own 3% of blue-haired fucking they-thems play it and it crashes every time, I don't care. Just stop touching the shit we like. So I encourage more Concords. I want more.
I used to play Overwatch. I was a top 500 Mercy back in the day.
Oh, shit.
And it was the only time I ever did any sort of competitive gaming. And so seeing something like
player, I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm always a support hero. I've never not been support. It's true though. Like a support role is what I play.
It's not easy role.
It's
not.
No.
It's not. And you have to deal with some really stupid teammates. Really stupid teammates.
Tanks just don't care.
I saw all the Concord stuff and it kind of just hurts me because like it just all it looks like is like a weird, not very good version of Overwatch or League of Legends or whatever.
Paladins,
any 5v5
one that you want to do,
oh my goodness, when Paladins came out, I was like, this is such a direct ripoff of Overwatch. It's not even funny. Like they had heroes who did very similar things.
I played Paladins because I didn't feel like paying for Overwatch, so I just played Paladins.
It is great value Overwatch. That is all that it is. We have Overwatch at home. That's
at least they didn't give you Paladins too and just be like, same game. We just made you pay extra money for
and actually take some characters out.
Hey, I've got my from you. Oh my goodness, I've got my own complaints with Blizzard and how they've handled Overwatch
and how they've handled every game that they've ever made.
Mercy
down every single time.
Blizzard is coming, guys.
Doing good things
for real.
No, it isn't. Shut up, Dave. So
it's coming.
I want to go. So we'll talk about Genshin Impact then, because Genshin Impact has a fake controversy, right? It's not real. It's when they're made up DEI bullshit controversy.
Yeah, it's just people getting upset about nothing.
Genshin Impact came out a few years ago. One of the biggest mobile games. I've heard great things about it. It's massive, and if you're like they
come out with new games and people jump back to Genshin,
and they've had a lot of Genshin clones, right? Have come out since, and everyone goes back, like you said, and it draws you in because it has really good anime character, like looking anime sprites and things like that. Beautiful cinematography with a lot of other things, and the gameplay looks like it's a blast. But there's controversy. And the controversy is part of Genshin is they take different people, obviously different ethnicities and things like that, and you use them, right? And they have different power, like different shit. Apparently, they're culturally appropriating, and that is wrong.
Yeah,
and you
I saw
can't
that.
culture appropriate in a game that you're using different people with different powers from different cultures. How fucking dare you? So, Dave, what did you have pulled up here?
I have this article that is reporting on the controversy and lambasting Genshin. So, from its name and look in the trailers, Natlan appears to be African and Latin American cultures. That's common. But after players notice characters continue, the tradition of having shockingly white casts for a game influenced by such diverse real-world cultures. And I would say that it's like these people don't understand these types of games from like Japan, where they just make they take characters and they make them waifus. And that's generally what they do, or husbandos. Like that's all they
they're
do.
doing.
Yeah, that's all they do. They don't
Yep.
care. They're not really even supposed to be anything like the goddamn characters that they give little things, but not a lot. That's all they do. And I would say that they don't understand it, but they do fully understand it. They just want control over what Genshin's doing. That's all these activists are doing because they know how these games work. But they're just trying to call it racist. They're trying to call it cultural appropriation so they have power over it and so that it doesn't happen again.
Dave, or did either of you guys watch the videos of people submitting the video comments about why Genshin Impact is racist and what is wrong with it?
I did not watch that.
No.
So I was listening to it. I didn't get to watch it, but over on Side Scrollers with Stutter and Craig, they watched it. And they're the biggest fucking NPCs. And their complaints are just so like just your typical SJW bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so Ben, what is your take on this? Especially you are definitely in the more gaming space, right? You play Genshin Impact at all?
No, and I tried it and I couldn't get into it. I'm gonna be entirely
I'm not a big
honest.
mobile gaming person at all.
I'm not either, and I know you can play it on PC now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But I couldn't get into it. Oh yeah, sorry.
Imagine asking this for like a culturally correct rendition of characters. Come on now.
It's ultimately that's kind of how I see it. At the end of the day, like people are playing that game for one reason and one reason only.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to see anime girls.
Yeah.
That's all they want to see. I guarantee you the majority of the fan base is probably male. And it's like that is 100% why they want to play the game. They don't really care about the cultural impact of the game or what cultures are being represented in the game. Like, I don't think the majority of players care about that at all, period. And they just, like I said, they just want to see cute, anime waifus. That's all they want. That's all they want.
That's why people play Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade, I heard the gameplay is pretty good. The story is shallow, but they just want to see a hot, well-proportioned, animated by Asian people chick running around with great jiggle physics. Like nothing else matters. Like that is all they want. That's why we used to play
the Dead or Alive volleyball is crazy.
Volleyball. Honestly, dude, not even that. Some of the Mortal Kombat games. You remember when we first got jiggle physics in Mortal Kombat? MK9. And the first time you watch fucking Katana take a step and her ass fully jiggles, it's like, whoa. She always had a dump truck, but now we notice it. Like that's part of it, and it's part of the gaming because the thing is, it's like these people never watch Revenge of the Nerds, right?
Yep.
Gamers have mostly been nerds.
And I guarantee you, besides the fan base not caring about what people find controversial, I guarantee you the developers don't give a crap about what these people find controversial. Like they've been so successful with this game. What are they going to do? Stop doing what they're doing? No, they're not going to stop at all. Like they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. Like it's in my opinion, it's such a nothing burger of controversy. Like it is literally controversy for controversy's sake. You got people going out there making comments just because.
And it is funny because it's actually like an older style kind of controversy that we're seeing with Genshin Impact here. Because they used to do this all the time with a ton of games. Even if you go back to like Resident Evil 5, where they're like, oh, having a game in Africa for Resident Evil is somehow racist. Like this is a very old style type of controversy.
Right.
And it's funny to see it transplanted to this day and age where a lot of people are just going to tell you to shove it. This doesn't work anymore.
No, it's an old tactic for sure. I think like if you really want cultural appropriation in a game, go look at the new Assassin's Creed game.
Yep.
Like
we had Nate's comment over here that they appropriate Oakland culture.
literally Assassin's Creed Shadows is already racist in multiple ways. So
I mean the thing that's crazy, right? They want to take Yasuke or Yasuke, or however you say Yasuke.
Yasuke, yeah.
They want to take Yasuke and they want to make he was a retainer, he wasn't a samurai, right? And he was, there is factual. Yamamoto did like him. There was already actually a pretty good anime on Netflix that really glorified him.
I heard that was pretty good.
It was well done. Like, that this wasn't real. Like, this isn't really who he was, but they glorified it. The action was good. Netflix anime typically sucks, but this one was pretty good. It was one of their better ones. So it's like, we've had this already, and nobody gave a shit that they were taking Yasuke and making it, embellished, right?
Right.
But it's when you draw, like, they could have done this without drawing all the attention to it, right? Without drawing all the attention to black guy, black samurai, like him, hip hop beats with killing Asians. Like, you didn't have to do all of this if you wanted to. And then the Asian is the chick, right? So it's like, they could have done this in a much better way, where if they just made the fucking game, most people wouldn't have cared. Honestly.
Yeah, and I mean,
without all the stuff.
Ubisoft has already, like, they're a disaster of a company already, but they I still feel like Yasuke as a character did not need to be in that game. Period.
Not one bit.
Like, just not at all.
No.
They're trying, all they are trying to do is get weird diversity brownie points, which doesn't make sense because it's already a game that's supposed to be set in feudal Japan, I assume. With Japanese characters. Like, you're in a lot of ways, you are taking away from Japanese culture by trying to insert something different in there.
100%.
But they're white adjacent, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
killing the black man, killing the white adjacent person that took their Harvard scholarship.
Right.
Is appropriate, damn it.
Ultimately, Ubisoft is the racist ones, and I mean, it's just
always,
it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I think the game I don't think the game would have had like any controversy around it if they had just stuck with, like, it's called I mean, we already knew it was set in Japan. Like, if it was a bunch of Japanese characters in a Japanese game, like, who's going to bat an eye at that? Nobody. Literally nobody's going to bat an eye.
Yeah.
But then they come in here with trying to do Yasuke as his story again, even though it's been told multiple times recently, trying to do his story again in a Japanese Assassin's Creed game. It just feels weird, and it feels so weird and scummy and everything, and I just don't like it.
It could have been done so much better, where you are a Japanese guy, you're an assassin,
right,
and Yasuke's there.
And they are side characters.
To work with Yasuke in the sense where he is Yamamoto's retainer, and he knows something's going to happen, and he knows you're an assassin, and we want to take out these people, and I'm going to work with you, and you can make Yasuke a badass. You can make 100%. Him this really cool samurai that you work with, and maybe can even be playable for a moment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could have done something fun where you would have accomplished all the things you wanted to, without making it a big deal. And you could have even promoted, like, hey, we give black guy in game. Haha. Like, that could have been something they could have done. But again, they don't know what they're doing. They're a lot of these people are stupid. That's also
actually
a lot.
They do know what they're doing in the fact that they're inserting like they know why they made it, but they don't know what like, it's not for a profit incentive. That's what.
Like I said, they believe that they are earning cultural brownie points by virtue signaling, whatever you want to call it. But ultimately, it's just making people mad. Like,
no, we're a bunch of racist bigots. We're not real gamers. We're the worst. We're just white guys that hate women, hate black people, hate other cultures. When
that's such a tired argument. It's so funny because back to like a just minor thing on the Acolyte. That was the biggest thing that people said about people who don't like the Acolyte. It still is the biggest thing. It's like, they obviously hate women. Okay, well, then why have we liked every single other female character in Star Wars? Why is Ahsoka one of the Star Wars fans' most beloved characters? Well, they hate black people. Well, that's not true at all. Like, what about Mace Windu? Like, Mace Windu is one of the most prolific black characters ever. So is Lando Calrissian. Like when we love those characters.
And on top of that, like we gave Rey a real chance after the first movie. I feel like most fans were like, let's see where she develops. This is an okay first movie.
Yeah.
You know, it was a good introduction to come
willing
back.
to give it a shot for sure.
We gave her a shot and then they fucking made her terrible last 2 movies.
Yeah.
So
well, and
our fault.
she just wasn't a character. That was the biggest problem, is she just didn't have a character. And you know, yeah, right. She was nothing. At least Kylo Ren had a character. Rey didn't have a character. I hate what they did with Kylo.
No, I hate what they did with Kylo. One of my worst things. We don't need to keep going back to Star Wars. One of my things that I hated so much.
Dave's not even a big Star Wars guy. Which
I'm not. Is I liked Kylo's mask. Like I liked his helmet. I liked that. I was like, that's cool. Why isn't he wearing it more? Why is it always off of his head? Like it pisses me off, because one of the things that a lot of people like about Star Wars is the aesthetic of it. And when you're, I don't need to see Adam Driver's big fat nose on the screen the whole time. Have him in the mask a lot more. It looks good.
They missed a good opportunity to either go one way or the other. And I think my biggest issue with Kylo is the fact that he flip-flopped so much and they tried to pull an Anakin with him.
Character-wise,
make him
a lot of issues. I'm just saying.
Evil, or make him fully submit to Rey quicker without that like thing into the end.
I don't think that Kylo is a brilliant character by any source of the imagination.
No.
I just think that if you're comparing him and Rey, he is more of a character, period, than Rey is.
He has a better motivation.
At least he has something happening with his character, whether we like it or we don't. At least something's happening with Rey. Nothing's happening, and it's just boring.
Yeah, and he has motivation. He wants to be a better Sith than his idol. Like there was the motivation there. That's why they looked, and it was cool. You saw the throwback with the helmet and everything. So, like you said, there was build up there. They just can't finish anything. So,
yeah, execution.
So I want to end off on a good note. Ben, give us something good in gaming.
Yeah, something that you're looking forward to, or something you're enjoying.
Yes.
Something. Oh, okay. So something that I'm a big exploration, survival, like crafting game fan. So love that kind of game.
So Power World.
Dude, Power World's a great game. Love it.
World
Power World's so good. A game that I've loved for years, No Man's Sky. I always want to push more people to that game, because I think that what they've done in the last 8 years to improve that game and make it so much better.
One of the great redemption arcs in gaming. Because I remember when that first came out,
had a shitty launch,
a horrible time.
Yeah.
I remember, maybe like a year or two ago, my friend was playing it. He was like, "You wouldn't believe, like the game is actually really good. Like it's really fun now." I was like, "Wow, that's good.
Like
I'm happy." That.
I played No Man's Sky day one at midnight, launch day, and I played for about 100 hours. I think I played for about 100 hours, which is more than a lot of people did.
Yeah.
I gave it a fair shot. I gave it a really fair shot, and I was ultimately disappointed, but. I love seeing what Hello Games has done, and the fact that they've done everything that they've done for $0, completely free. They just released
another. They realized they fucked up the launch, and they're just 100%. The people that have stayed with it here and thank you.
You deserve it. Yeah,
devs should do right,
right,
because then you will go on your page where you have people and say play No Man's Sky as a person that people watch on YouTube, which is massive.
Yeah, and in turn, they've gotten more and more people come back to the game. Every time there's a new update, there's a huge player spike. It encourages people to buy the game because they hear such good word of mouth. And so they keep making money off of it, but they're making money in an honest way now, where it's like, hey, people just really want to play the game and they're enjoying it. So they released another huge update today that is absolutely fantastic. They changed a lot of graphical fidelity. They changed a ton of different things. They made their water dynamic now, which is really freaking cool.
That's good.
Which is difficult to do. Like that
very difficult.
That costs money to have your devs work on that.
Literally, the water now changes with wind. So it changes with wind, and then there's massive waves can happen. It's really cool. And then they have got really cool volumetric clouds now. A lot of just amazing stuff visually in that game. So that's something that I've been just excited about. I'm glad that they released this new update today, but it's a game that I will always go back to every time there's an update because it's worth it, and they put a lot of love into it. So if you guys don't know about Hello Games or you haven't played the game, think it's like only $23 right now. It's
I'm
for like
actually
everybody.
thinking about picking it up now that you said that, because I didn't know honestly, I didn't know they were still updating it and still giving it like all this content.
Yep. Yeah, I think there's been already like 3 updates this year, like massive updates. And this is part 1 of this like world update where they're changing a ton of fundamental things about the game. So it's huge. It's 60% off right now, and they deserve support, and they've done a incredible job by maintaining and also regaining a fan base.
See, what we also found is what they need is also an anime, right? Because anime saved Cyberpunk. Right?
Dude, Cyberpunk is an incredible game.
And the thing is, Cyberpunk, here's the reason why Cyberpunk failed, because they hyped it up to be the greatest game of all time.
Yeah.
And what they released was a broken game that ended up being a Game of the Year worthy, very good game. It's not the greatest game of all time. It's a very, very good game.
Great game.
But the issue was that they told you it was the best world thing ever. They made you wait 2-3 years. Then on release, they're like, oh, we rushed this. Wait, are you fucking kidding me? And we pay for a broken game. And honestly, if it wasn't for that anime that really brought the lore to life, I feel like a lot of gamers would not have went back to it.
Right.
But, you know, one of our good buddies, who we're going to feature some of his music after this, Hack No Cap, he was massive into Cyberpunk, and he's in the group chat talking it up. And I remember just me trolling him. I'm like, it's going to fucking suck. Like, they're going to do this. This is going to be Destiny. This is going to be all those games that were good, but not great, right? They hype them up, and they end up being good, but not great games.
Right.
And lo and behold, it happened. And I swear, like, you could feel him moping through the group chat with all the shit going on. But then he came back. What was it? They fixed it in like 2 or 3, like a month or 2.
Yeah.
They really worked their asses off to get it up to snuff. And then he came back, and he was one of the people still playing. He's like, guys, this is a really good game. Like, this is a really good game, a well done game now that it's completely done and patched and everything.
Right.
But, you know, we want to end off on a good note, but this is my one negative note. And this is one of the reasons why I don't game as much anymore. Because they sell us broken games all the fucking time. Now,
all the time.
Steam has fixed a lot of this with the indie devs. But the AAA games, my last straw was Battlefront 2, which is a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
But Battlefront
what a mess.
2, you could play the game up to a certain point, and then it's like, wait, you have to pay for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys. Like,
if
I'm not doing that.
Like, if you want a this was my favorite game of last year. It's one of my favorite games in the last few decades. But Baldur's Gate 3, I adore that game. And that is a great example. And I know there were tons of hate articles coming out about it because of it's an unrealistic expectation for developers, and then the bear stuff.
Oh yeah. I forgot about the other.
Right?
Yeah, forgot.
Completely optional, by the way. But that's what makes an RPG amazing.
You want to relive?
You have the ability to do whatever the frick you want to do. But Larian Studios has poured their heart and soul into that game, and every developer should look at them and be like, that is an example we should strive for as a developer, because the more broken games you release, the more distrust you're building with fans, and ultimately you're going to make a lot less money because of it. So I know it is tough, and I completely respect people not buying, especially new games that come out, until they wait and see what's going on with it, because so many games are broken.
And that was my problem. I waited to see about Battlefront 2 because I knew I didn't want to pay full money. And when I waited and I watched some people, you know, on YouTube do some gameplay, and I watched them go, I didn't beat the game, but I can't fucking do anything else. Like, and it was like, wait a minute. What? I just paid $60 and now I have to pay 40 more for the DLC to finish the game.
Right.
Like, I'm not paying $100 for, it's not even like it's, I think the whole entire thing was maybe a 23-hour like long play. So it's not even like you're getting the 60-80 hour Final Fantasy or like these really long things to pay that much. It's like, fuck off. It's insane.
I mean, and to be fair, Battlefront 2 is actually pretty good now. It's come a long way. It's been improved a lot.
But I don't want to play it anymore. Like,
exactly. But you've lost any desire to play it, and that's what's happened.
The first Battlefront, I loved it, and I'm happy they didn't remake Knights of the Old Republic. So I love that game, and I really
one of the greatest games of all time.
To touch it. I don't want them to touch it, but it's like, that's the thing. And I grew up playing like a lot of things that I fell in love with too. Is I grew up playing Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Jack and Daxter, Banjo, all those type of 3D-ish, but still side-scroller-esque games. There was a linear progression. And I was going to get God of War. And then I heard there was the arrow to go the right way bullshit. And I'm like, no! God of War is a fucking puzzle game.
Yeah.
Stop. So, I love gaming still. Gaming hates.
Trace did help a lot, and I've said a lot in the show. I turn my head away from a lot of AAA games unless I see something good on YouTube already after they've come out. I just
don't
don't
blame
want to
you.
get up. And I tell people just go indie. You have to as much as you can go indie, because you're going to find a lot of games that have a lot of heart and a lot of content in them. Some of these games
for a lot less money.
Yeah, exactly. Some of these games are like, you know, the old PS1, PS2 games where you just have a ton of stuff you could do for less money than a AAA one.
I mean, look at Pal World. Game's in early access still, and those developers love that game, and you can tell that they do. Regardless of the issues that it does have, it's $24. Like, it's $24, and it's a great experience.
Pokemon with guns and fucking building shit. And you can enslave everything. Why wouldn't you want to be a slave owner? Dave, clip that.
No, we're not clipping that. We're not clipping that.
Probably don't.
We're not being clipped.
But no, but really, that's the thing too. But if you do want to see gameplay, here's a little plug. Go subscribe to Ben. Benologyy over there. He plays a bunch of fun games. And if you want to, hear opinions, watch good gameplay. Ben's good at video games, so that helps. Don't go watch streamers that suck. Watch streamers that actually can be good. So they can show you
some
things.
streamers that suck are pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie to you.
If they're funny, that's fine.
It's true.
But go watch Ben on YouTube, and also pay attention to, if you want to do what Dave and I do to see if games are good. Side scrollers with Stuttering Craig, Geeks and Gamers, their whole channel, Tuesday Night Main Event, things like that. Go watch Nerdrotic, and anyone associated with that group is,
well,
awesome.
I mean, Nerdrotic is a professional gamer, but he doesn't talk about it that much. He doesn't want to.
Owen Benjamin will love that clip. Owen Benjamin is out of his mind, and I love it. But anyway, I wanted to end it off with something good, and I ended off with something negative. But no, we did. We ended off with Power World. So Power World and them loving it. So I think that's okay. Ben, thank you so much for coming on, bro.
Of course, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So once again, he's Benologyy. You can go find him on X. It's Benologyy with 2 Y's. Find him on YouTube, as YouTube is right there on the screen. Once again, just search the Benologyy with 2 Y's. There is a Benologyy with 1 Y. That is not him.
Nope.
And go also to Wattpad and go read his Acolyte Real Version. Chapter 1 is out there. So we'll put the links in the the description down there. And I want to do one last thing before we jump out of here. Dave, what song should we play from Hack? Because I have it up.
I don't know. Pick one. Just pick one.
Pick one. Dave, you like Deathloop, right?
Yep.
Let's do it. So, Ben,
like a minute.
This is our buddy Hack No Cap.
Okay.
Am I still here?
Yeah, you're here.
All right. This is our buddy Hack No Cap. He's a musician. He has made his 4th album that he's released. And he's unsigned, but this is his music. We're trying to push him. Ben, if you like him, use his stuff. He'll probably let you do it. So here we go. This is Deathloop. This is from his album Unplugged. You can find it anywhere. I'm on Amazon Music here, but you can find it anywhere. So here it is.
Thank you, Nate.
About a minute-ish.
And I don't hear anything. Okay, there we go. Oh, we're good. We're good. I think it's moving.
Can you hear it?
No.
Maybe. No.
Oh, what the fuck? Hold on. Am I shared here?
You're not good at this. You're not good at this.
I'm shared. No, it said I thought it was sharing. Shut up, Dave. Okay. Now here it is. Here's Deathloop. David, be quiet. All right, boom. We're gonna start it from where it was.
Learn from the last time, trapped in a loop. Leave me in hell, I'll leave you in a coop. Cause I'm better off dead and you're better off loose. Like I don't even know why I am even trying. Put me to the test, left me crying and crying. Sat up on the radio, at least I know I'm fighting. My laboratory's burning down, I'm all about the science. What works, what don't, guaranteed to leave a lump in your throat. Hey, this.
No, I only got a 30-second preview anyway because I'm not logged in. So there we go.
Hey.
It worked out better that way. Anyway, David, shut up. So that's our boy Hack No Cap. I wasn't logged in. I figured it would log me in automatically.
Holy shit.
That's what happens when you are live streaming and you're
you just gotta roll with the punches.
Thank you again, Ben. Thank you.
So thanks, Ben. So thank you everybody for watching. David, go away. Thank you everyone for watching on YouTube, on X, on Facebook. We appreciate you all. Anyone listening to the podcast, we appreciate you. We'll be back next week. Go find us on the socials at the Alex Cuesta Show. And